You know, some people are actually too tired to be able to sleep and rest. No matter how exhausted they get, their body just does not allow them to get into the deep delta wave sleep. Yet other people have way too much energy and they can't sleep because you have too much adrenaline or nervous energy flowing through their bloodstream. So it takes a healthy amount of energy in your energy factories called the mitochondria to be able to have this really wonderful sleep. So today we're going to talk about three things that you can do to improve not just sleeping, but resting. There just happens to be a clock in your brain. It's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus that tells you or tells your body when to go to sleep and when to wake up. And so I'm going to give you some tips on how to get your clock to work better. Okay. All right. Let's first talk about energy, right? We're talking about the mitochondria, and this is in relationship to healing or supporting the mitochondria in the brain. The organs that have the most mitochondria are in the heart and your brain. Okay. So both of those organs need a lot of oxygen. And when they don't get oxygen, when they're dysfunctional, you have problems. So there are several things you can do to increase oxygen into the mitochondria, into the brain, to help you really sleep and go to sleep quickly. The first one is the obvious one, exercise. So when you exercise, you get more oxygen. And so I like to do two types of exercise, mainly every day. I do a higher intense exercise and I do weight training. And with the higher intensity exercise, I do really short durations, but I always do long walks or hiking. I go up hills, things like that. So I'm always doing that which is a low intensity walking, and that's great for sleeping. Okay, so exercise is at the top of the list. Number two, B1. Another name for a B1 or thiamine deficiency is called pseudohypoxia. That's right, hypoxia. That is a lack of oxygen. And so this can occur in the brain, at the very heart of the autonomic nervous system, which is in the brainstem, which has everything to do with your breathing. Okay. And so when you're deficient in B1, your breathing is going to suffer and your oxygen is going to suffer, and you're going to trigger what's called the stress reflex. And try to sleep when you're stressed. You can't. So it's all about increasing the amount of O2 in the mitochondria. And B1 before bed is a great way to do that. The next thing is just to open your windows if you can at night when you're sleeping. That is going to give you more oxygen than trying to recirculate some of this kind of stale air that's in your room. Having plants in your room also will increase the oxygen because they give off oxygen and they take in CO2. Another thing that increases the oxygen is coenzyme Q10. And then another great remedy is called methylene blue. This was the first drug that medicine ever introduced in their healthcare system. Methylene blue. It's been around since the 1800s. Methylene blue will make your urine green, okay, because the blue mixes with the yellow and then it turns out green. But there's a lot of interesting positive things when you take it in small or diluted amounts. Okay. And I'm going to put the link down below on that video so you can learn more about it. But it can greatly increase oxygen in your brain and other parts of your body. All right. So now let's talk about that circadian rhythm controlled by the suprachiasmatic nucleus. How do you get that to work correctly? It's controlled by light in dark cycles. Okay. So when you are in your house at night with the lights on, all the way up until the time you go to bed, that is going to be very, very bad because it's going to work against that rhythm. The ideal situation is to work with this light and dark cycle, with this rhythm, with nature. And that means that you would want to start to turn down the lights at sunset. Okay. Now, that's really difficult in the winter, isn't it? When it gets dark out at 4:30. But typically in the summertime, it starts to get dark at 9 o'clock. So if you were to be in your house and start to use like dim lights, okay, that would be a really good thing. So your body is starting to get used to this decrease in light, and you can even replace certain lights in your house with incandescent lights, which give off more infrared, which is very, very good for your sleep cycle. So, infrared, you can also avoid blue lights like your computer. Now, that's hard for some people, but not for me because I'm not on my computer at night. I'm in the computer in the morning. But that the blue light that's emanating from your electrical devices definitely can worsen your melatonin, okay? The thing that helps you sleep at night. You can get some red lights. You can start dimming your lights, get some incandescent lights, and not be around the LEDs. If you had the light from your fireplace or even a campfire where that you have that yellow golden light, that's giving off a lot of infrared and very low blue light, if any. That's very therapeutic for sleeping. Or let's say you get the blue light blocker glasses and you can filter out that blue light. That's beneficial. But the point is that if you're going to start watching TV, turn off the lights in the room. Okay. So it's really dark. So you have just smaller amounts of light. That is going to be very, very therapeutic for your circadian rhythms. And I even wear an eye mask when I go to sleep because I have to have it, pitch black. My wife can sleep if the lights are on. I can't. Your timing of eating, okay? You're going to find that if you don't eat too late, you're going to sleep better. I mean, if you can really do this, let's say you ate one meal a day and that last meal was right around 3 o'clock, that would be the ideal situation to eat to improve your circadian rhythms, but it might interfere with your social life because a lot of people don't eat at that time. So you might be eating by yourself. Or if you're doing 2 meals a day, maybe you do the first meal in the morning and the second meal at 3, right? That would be ideally the situation. If you can't do that, then do something that's related to that and just avoid eating 5 hours before you go to bed. So if you go to bed at 10, consume your food at 5. Okay. That will at least give you 5 hours for your system to kind of get settled in, to start aligning with their circadian wave. I mean, just do an experiment. Eat a very heavy meal before you go to bed and then see how you sleep. It just doesn't work. So I just want you to experiment with it and see if it doesn't help you. If you're traveling, okay, even in the same time zone, that is going to interfere with this clock in your brain and the GPS that's in your brain that can identify where your location is in space. And so, a good way to handle jet lag when you travel is to take a lot more vitamin D3. Apparently, that is the key nutrient that helps reset those mechanisms to really help get you on track a lot faster. I do this all the time. So I might take like say 30, 40, 50,000 I use of vitamin D if I'm traveling to a different country. Now, what time should you go to bed? Typically, the best time to go to bed is like 10 o'clock. I tend to go to bed between 9:30 and 9:45, but some people can't do that. There's too much going on. You definitely want to avoid going to bed before 12, right? Because there's definitely a situation if you go past 12, all of a sudden the body will start waking up and you miss that wave, and now you have to kind of wait like 90 minutes before your body's tired. And that's happened to me several times where I'm extremely tired at 9:30 and I'll push through it. And then now I'm awake. Now I have to wait for a period of time until I'm tired again. So you want to work with your body's waves and you want to catch the waves so you can go right into the deep sleep. Experiment what works for you, but 10 o'clock on average would be the best for most people. I do it a little bit earlier and then I will sleep for 7 hours, sometimes 7.5 hours. Some people need 8 hours, but anywhere between 7 and 8 hours is the best situation. If you get up in the middle of the night, let's say at 2-ish or even 1, that usually means that your adrenals are stressed out and you need to support the adrenals with certain types of adaptogens and whole desiccated adrenal supplements. And if you're getting up urinating frequently, that means that you still have to deal with insulin resistance. I have videos on that. If a muscle cramp wakes you up, you may need more magnesium, potassium, or calcium. Now, I think sleep is so important for so many things. And if you haven't seen my more comprehensive video on sleep, you should check that out. And I put it up right here.